It's a good AGam in Kansas morning. Good morning. Let's take a look and see what's coming up today. First, meet the 2015 winner of the Excellence in Teaching Award from Kansas Farm Bureau's Foundation for Agriculture. Next, Jeff Grossenbacher, Vice President of Kansas Farm Bureau, discusses issues important to KFB members. Then Dr. Chris Blevins talks about the supplements available for your horse. And Dr. Bob Weaber announces the dates and times of the 2016 Winter Ranch Management Seminar Series. We'll end with an update on PRRS from Dr. Bob Rowland. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
How does a woman working as a federal meat grader end up teaching elementary school kids? Well, Kim Curran did just that and has been teaching for 18 years now. A farm and ranch girl all her life, Curran studied animal science and industry at Kansas State University and received her Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. Following graduation, she began working for the USDA Federal Meat Grading Service. Curran would later transition her career to education, beginning with working as a substitute teacher and later a paraprofessional before pursuing a degree in elementary education. Curran is currently a 5th grade teacher at R.V. Haderline Elementary in Girard, Kansas. With her degrees, she has been able to spread her passion for both teaching and agricultural awareness simultaneously. Her dedication to both fields was recognized this year when she received the 2015 Kansas Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture Excellence in Teaching Awards. Curran enjoys being a facilitator of learning and seeing kids explore the world of learning. She feels it's vital for all of us, not just her students, whether involved in production agriculture or not, to know how our food, fuel, and fiber reaches our plates, homes, cars, and closets. Curran continues to be deeply rooted in agriculture. She and her husband, along with their 5 children, raise beef cattle and meat goats. Their 3 daughters and oldest son have followed a similar path, all studying agriculture at K-State. Their youngest son is a freshman at Girard High School. With this background, Curran utilizes information taken from the farm and transforms it into hands-on lesson plans, fun activities, and even field trips where students learn about local agriculture and why it is important. Curran enjoys helping her students make the connections to their food supply and learning about all the other products that come from agriculture. One activity Curran has implemented with her students is creating agriculture pizzas. She challenges students to choose 3 pizza toppings and research information about them before creating their pizza artwork for display. Another one of Curran's favorite agricultural-related activities is taking field trips to local farms. It exposes students to information about products they use every day that are made from agricultural commodities, allowing them to have a much greater appreciation of agriculture. The farmers and ranchers appreciate the opportunity to assist in the exposure of their world to the students, Curran says. Curran's goal is for her students to learn the farm-to-table process early on so that they will be better educated consumers and able to make important decisions as young adults. Her approach is to increase the exposure of agriculture through fun, hands-on activities and hopefully lay the foundation for them to be agriculture advocates. To read about work Curran is doing in her classroom and to learn about other teacher features, visit the Kansas Foundation for Agriculture in the Classroom's website at ksagclassroom.org and click on the Teacher Features sidebar.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com. Heinen Brothers, a 4th-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. To see this show and past episodes of AGam in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com. AGam in Kansas brought to you in part by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
I'm Jeff Grossenbacher, Vice President of Kansas Farm Bureau, wrapping up this year's resolutions process with our delegate body. One of the main issues we discussed at length was the Water Transfer Act in Kansas. Our delegates asked us to look at it more in depth to make sure it's going to be fairly applied across the state. The second issue that we'll be looking more in depth this next year is we have a special task force on K through 12 education in Kansas, and they're to bring their recommendations to the Resolutions Committee this summer. And then we'll be working on that policy for the delegate body next December. Also, the delegates reaffirmed to make permanent a technology committee that had a sunset on it. So that committee will continue to function and bring the new issues as they pop up in technology, such as UAVs, big data, etc. Well, it's very important that we preserve our grassroots effort, that every member out in the counties has a chance to participate in our process of bringing ideas and policy forward through our listening posts and our county boards, and then our 400 plus delegates come to this convention to vote on those policies as been recommended by our resolutions committee through that process of moving those ideas forward. And that's what makes our organization strong, is each individual member has a chance to participate in our policy process. If somebody's wanting to get involved in Kansas Farm Bureau, I urge you to go to your local county office and you become a member of your county first, and then there are county boards and county committees that you can become involved in. Go to your county office first, because that's the place to start, because I'm sure they're looking for members that want to become active.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hello, I'm Dr. Chris Blevins with Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center with Horsing Around. Today, let's talk about supplements. There's a lot of things out there that you can feed and put in front of your horse, whether they're treats, whether they're nutritional aspects to add either body condition to your horse or to help the hooves, or different labels based on health of your horse or calmness, electrolytes. There's different ways that they can issue it based on paste, powders, pellets, already in feeds. And so when trying not to get lost with all those, what are things that you need to be looking for when it comes to supplements for your horse? You have to remember that all supplements usually aren't necessarily completely regulated specifically based on what they're doing for the animal. So they're a nutraceutical. The FDA does regulate to make sure that the supplement is safe for your horse or your animal, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the supplement is effective or it fixes whatever it says that's based on the label. So the regulation is based on safety, but not necessarily that of effectiveness of that product. So always keep those things in mind when you look at different products to buy for your horse. It sure could be safe, but how effective it is always in question. Now, when you think about paste and powders and pellets and what should be or things to think about for your animal, always remember that the horse, based on whatever is in their diet, as long as it's fairly balanced, doesn't need a lot of extra supplementation. I think that if you ever have questions, especially with very young and very old horses, that then more supplements are possibly or potentially could be added. You know, L-lysine is an amino acid that sometimes is low and that is needed for foals. So different products could be higher in L-lysine that you could supplement for foals, and just something to think about as far as a supplement. Older horses, we always try to think about balancing their diet, and if they're getting a complete feed or if they're just getting some processed feed that you have to kind of add together and mix and match so everything is correctly balanced for the animal. And that can be pretty complicated, and sometimes having an equine nutritionist help with those things are always helpful. And like always, talk to your veterinarian. Sometimes they can give you some very beneficial information when it comes to nutrition. In addition, they can guide you to somebody else as far as an expert in equine nutrition that they can work with you and the veterinarian to come up with the best thing for each individual animal. Most middle-aged horses are fine without most supplementations, but always think about things as far as your animal and body condition. That's the biggest thing when it comes to animals. You know, the other thing is hoof supplements that'll be in foods, and a lot of them are going to have biotin, and how that biotin is helpful, bioavailability of the biotin, and what that kind of does. You know, we're looking for sulfur bonds and hoof health, and they're finding some of those are variable as far as how effective really they are. And a lot of things too is to remember that a lot of hoof health has to do with blood supply and working with your farrier on keeping a good foundation of the hoof together and the environment that the horse is on, whether it's dry or if it's moist environments and different things that can affect the hoof. So those would be the first things to think about. Potentially could add some different supplements for hoof health, but really how effective some of those are, again, are in question, and wondering whether how effective they are is something that you should talk to your veterinarian, your farrier, and equine nutritionist about when it comes to some of those things, even about hoof. There's electrolytes that they can add for, you know, if you're going on a lot of endurance riding, sweating. Horses do sweat, so salts and electrolytes sometimes are helpful in rebalancing that, and make sure they have plenty access to water. Again, if you have any questions about supplements, nutrition of your horse, and body condition scoring of your horse, talk to your veterinarian. The veterinarian may even help with finding a good equine nutritionist to consult with you. And having those realms to ask and figure out what's the best for your animal is always beneficial when it comes to equine health. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center with Horsing Around, and we'll see you around.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. A high-energy, drought-tolerant crop, sorghum only requires 6 inches of water to produce the first bushel. And with its wide uses and easy adaptation, sorghum proves to be a truly indispensable crop. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Fall is a great time to plant trees, shrubs, and perennials. Root development this fall means more growth with less watering next year. For faster root growth, always use Fertilome Root Stimulator. It is the only stimulator which contains IBA rooting hormone. Use Fertilome tree and shrub food after the plant has been planted for a month.
Save 25% now on Jackson's homegrown hardy perennials. Let Jackson's friendly staff help you select the best plants for your landscape.
This segment brought to you by Heinen Brothers Ag, farmers helping farmers by offering quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today to protect your crop yield.
My name's Bob Weber, and I'm Cow-Calf Extension Specialist here at Kansas State University. I'd like to invite producers from throughout Kansas to our 2016 Winter Ranch Management Series that'll be held at 5 locations throughout Kansas. This year's program is sure to offer information for producers from around the state on a variety of timely topics. Our locations this year include January 7th in Emporia, Kansas, January 20th in Concordia, January 21st in Lawrence, February 2nd in Alta Vista, and February 4th in Greensburg. Our speakers for this year's program hit on a number of topics. Our first speaker in the series this year is Dr. Travis O'Quinn. Travis is a new faculty member in our department, works in the area of meat science, and over the past year he's conducted a very interesting study that helps to explore the impact of branding on consumer satisfaction of beef products. So something that's a little further down the value chain than many of the topics we've had at Winter Ranch Management before, but one that I think will help our beef producers here in Kansas understand a little bit more about consumer demand and consumer satisfaction with beef products. Our second speaker, or second topic rather, is on the topic of the Veterinary Feed Directive, so some new regulations that'll affect producers throughout Kansas, and primarily look at the impact of that and implementation of Veterinary Feed Directive on those producers and their access to antimicrobial products. And those presentations will be given either by Dr. Dave Redhorst or Dr. Greg Hanselcheck from the College of Veterinary Medicine here at K-State. Our third speaker will be Dr. Chris Reinhardt. Chris is a nutritionist and has a wealth of experience in mineral and vitamin nutrition of beef cattle through all phases of production. And so he'll talk about year-round mineral supplementation programs for the beef herd and have some application to both cow-calf producers as well as stocker producers throughout the state. At the Emporia location, Dr. Jamie Lynn Farney will give an update on the Sunflower Supreme Heifer program that had a very successful sale here in the last month or so down in southeast Kansas. And so she'll give an update on the program and some additional information on managing heifers pre-breeding. I'll be the last speaker at all the locations and providing an update on the use of new selection tools in beef sire selection. So over the past year or two, we've had a dramatic change in the availability and implementation of genomics technologies in the beef sector. And so we'll talk about how that influences the EPDs that producers use for selection and some real practical advice on how to adopt that technology and use it in your selection system. Of course, the last segment of the program is the ever popular town hall question and answer session. We've had great success around the state with this format where producers can bring a question of their choosing on any topic and present it to our extension specialist that'll be in attendance, and we'll give it a best shot to get that question answered. But a real interactive time that we've got planned for producers and extension specialists to interface and address those timely questions that producers might bring. To learn more about programs and locations, visit ksubeef.org. That's our beef extension webpage here at K-State, and look for the link to the Winter Ranch Management Series. At that website, you'll be able to find a statewide brochure that has all the locations and contacts for RSVPs for each individual meeting. If you know one of the specific sites you already want to go to, there's individual location flyers that have the contact information as well. Registration costs do vary just a little bit from site to site. We do ask that producers RSVP by close of business a week before each conference. That way our extensions faculty outstate have an opportunity to make sure we've got the right meal count and facility set up for each meeting.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm a patient of Kansas Regenerative Medicine in Manhattan. I had stem cell therapy in my hips and my left knee. My wife and I both are patients. We went down there the same day in November. Since then, my hips are feeling a lot better. I can work now most of the day if I want to. And before, if I worked in the morning, I was done in the afternoon, or if I worked in the afternoon, I was sure enough done for the rest of the day.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
AGam in Kansas is brought to you in part by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
This disease appeared in about 1987, and since then it's been the most devastating swine disease in the history of the pork industry. And it's not only devastating because it causes severe outbreaks in sow herds with high mortality, not only in sows but in young pigs. Once it passes the farrowing house and the nursery, it continues to be a drag all the way through finishing. And so we see the disease two ways. First, as a reproductive disease, like its name implies, as well as a respiratory disease that seems to be linger on throughout production. There have been no cures. We have had some vaccines that have provided some remedy, but there's never been an effective control mechanism for this disease. For the past 20 years, it has been about a $10 billion drag in the U.S. alone. And we've worked on this since about 2007. So really looking for a genetic basis to find an improvement in the face of a PRRS infection. This is another type of genetics in which we actually go in, and in this case, just make a very few nucleotide changes. And as a result, we knock out a protein which then prevents infection. Of course, down the road, we are working on refinements to better refine our approach so we can actually find the minimum number of changes that can be made to block virus infection while still retaining the normal function for the CD163 protein. But it also provides a very powerful tool in which we can begin to probe other aspects of CD163, including better vaccines. So in the meantime, even though we don't have this pig on the market tomorrow, we have opportunities to improve other control measures. But this is the future. Whether we like it or not, genetics is going to be our future. Whether or not it's the genetics of understanding how viruses infect pigs, or if it's genetics of trying to find ways of intervening in preventing infection. You got to realize that this discovery is going to be such a benefit to pig health. And I think that's one thing that that can make all of us happy is the fact that we can see healthier pigs.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. To see this show and past episodes of AGam in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.